Welcome to my video, my program. My name is Mario Jannatpour, and I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Alliance here in Louisville, Colorado. I am the author of the book, The Honest Real Estate Agent, and I wrote that book last year, and it's been selling on Amazon very well. So as a result of writing the book, I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of new real estate agents, so I decided to develop this program here where I could put together different topics for you as new real estate agents and then as you progress along in your career. So here I am in Boulder, Colorado. I am at the Daylight Studios. This is a big upgrade from where I've been doing a lot of my videos at home on my webcam. I've got Brian helping me out here as behind the camera. I brought Mr. Penguin. Mr. Penguin is here to help me out. So I'm going to kind of jump into this. So the title of this program today is Be Successful from Day One in Your Career. So a lot of the questions I get from you as a new real estate agents that are out there is, how do I kind of get started in my career? So I want to talk about in this program what you need to focus on when you're starting your career. And these are things you need to start thinking about before you start from day one. So I'm assuming all of you are going to get your license, or if you've already gotten your license. So I'm going to talk about kind of that interval from when you get your license and then when you start as a real estate agent from the company you're going to work with. So the first topic I want to talk about is what's really important is the whole personal aspect of becoming a real estate agent. And what I mean is how you're going to be able to develop your career alongside with your spouse or whoever you're living with and your family close by. Because this career is a very up and down type of job. It's not the type of job where you're going to be getting a paycheck every month. It's not a steady paycheck. You're going to go into business for yourself, and you can earn well, but it's not going to be something, boom, every month you're going to get a paycheck. So you need to kind of talk this over with the person that you're living with, your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, family, whatever. Because a lot of real estate agents, they start this career, it's very easy to get your license, but it's very hard to stick with it over time and make it a profitable career. So for example, when I started out as a realtor 10 years ago, my wife and I were recently married, and I was coming out of the world of high tech. I was doing well in sales, but I just felt it was a time for me to make a change, and kind of evolved into getting into being a realtor. So when I joined RE/MAX, it was in 2003. My wife and I had been married not even a year. We had our first daughter was going to be born in a couple months. So I had to talk through with my wife about what was going to happen in my career. And I know since that time, there's been where we've had kitchen table discussions late at night, talking about money, talking about a paycheck. And those can be very trying on you. So that's where I think it's important that you talk about this up front with your spouse, so they're kind of prepared. Because what we need as realtors, we need a positive attitude. We need confidence in what we're doing. And if we don't have people at home supporting us emotionally and maybe even financially, it's going to be rather difficult for us to be successful when we go through the downtimes. I mean, think about the movie Rocky. Remember the first movie, and he's going to fight Apollo, and he doesn't, he didn't know if he was going to be able to win, but he just wanted to get in there and do a good showing. So when he had Adrian backing him and supporting him, right? Adrian! Adrian is supporting him and backing him. He felt so much better, and he was ready to take on the world. I mean, for me, like today, I'm doing this video here. This is something new for me. I got all these bright lights. I'm not used to this. I'm a little bit nervous and anxious. So when I left my house in the morning, talking to my wife, and she's like, she gives me a kiss. She gives me a big hug, and she says, "You're going to do a great job." So just having that behind me as I go into this, it just made me feel so much better. So that's the same thing for you when you're out there in the sales, when you're helping your clients and working with your buyers and working with your sellers. When you know you've got those around you that love you, supporting you, it makes such a big difference. And so really make sure that you talk about that up front before you get into the career. The other thing that's important to talk about, especially with your spouse and if you're single, from the personal side of it is, how much money do you have in savings? So like I said, with the paycheck, it's not going to be a steady paycheck every month. It's going to be something where you could go 3 or 4 months without a closing, and then you can have a month where you close, $40,000, $50,000 in commissions. So how much money do you have in savings initially? Ideally, if you can have up to a year's worth of savings to be able to cover your expenses, that would be fantastic. So that way, you're not always stressing about the commission, about the paycheck that you're going to get. One of my ways of how I work as a salesperson is that my focus is to help them get what they want and need. I'm not a pushy realtor, and I know a lot of you that are coming into the business today, that's not your style either. We're a very transparent type society now. We want to help people. Everything is above board. And that's one of the things I talk about in my book, The Honest Real Estate Agent, and why a lot of you that have read it really appreciate and value it, is the fact that we are honest with our clients at all times. And we're not focused on just getting a commission and just making a sale. So that's where if you got the savings behind you, and then when you are making your commissions, you really build that up. So you're not always just focused on the money. So very important. Another thing from a personal aspect is, are you ready to be your own boss? So a lot of people that want to get into real estate, they're like, oh, I hate my job. I hate my boss. Being a realtor, oh, that looks so cool. I can just go show houses. I can talk about interior decorating. Everybody watches these house hunter shows. It's a real not good for our industry, because you watch that and it's completely not true. I mean, you go look at 3 houses, boom, half an hour, they choose, oh, we'll take this one. They write a contract on the hood of the car, and then boom, they bought the house. Doesn't work that way. So when you're in this business, you have to be able to manage your time, manage your activities. You are your own boss. The paycheck, the money that you're going to earn, that's going to really drive you to be focused on the tasks at hand to be able to be successful. For me, it's easy. A lot of times I go home after a day at work, and my wife says, well, anything new today? So when she asks me if there's anything new today, that's something that we talk about 4 or 5 times a week, just talking about my business. And the same thing for me. I have a pipeline, I have a spreadsheet built of all my clients that I'm working with, buyers, sellers, listings. So every day I know what is going to be coming down the road, and I'm focused on what I need to do to be able to get the money. So the other example is, think back when you were in college. So you're a freshman. We come out of high school, we get into college. I went to college here at the University of Colorado in Boulder. So I remember my freshman year, there's nobody there to, stay on you. And that first year I didn't do as well. My grades kind of went down because I could do whatever I wanted to. If I didn't want to go to class, I can go hang out at the UMC, I could go to the gym, I could do whatever I wanted to. So think back when you were a freshman in college, and it's going to be the same thing when you start out as a real estate agent. You got to be your own boss, and you got to be focused on what you need to do to be successful. The other aspect here, talking about the personal, is what I call build the snowball. And like Warren Buffett, I think his biography talks about the snowball effect. And that's the way it is in real estate. It's a long-term career. So the success that you have in the first year, second year, third year, that's going to be the foundation for your business going forward. as you get into, like me, I've been doing this 10 years. Yeah, I've had my ups and downs. I've had good years, I've had down years, but this year, my 10th year, I'm having a great year. And because the snowball is building, and the snowball in the sense that you have repeat clients, you get referrals from your past clients, and then the sphere that you're working with, they know that you're a real estate agent. So when opportunities come up where they need help for family, for friends, or they need to downsize, or they need to be able to move away, then you have contact with them within your sphere. So look at it as a long-term business. And then the last thing here, talking about the personal aspect, are you ready to work hard? And I know everybody says you got to work hard, but this type of job, you really have to be able to work hard in the sense that not every day is going to be easy. I mean, some days I go out and I have 2 buyers that I'm showing, and I look at like 20 houses in one day. And I go home and I'm exhausted. So physically it can be demanding, as well as emotionally and intellectually. So there's a lot of things you have to be prepared to be able to work hard. You do an open house, you're standing up for 3 hours, you're meeting people, you're talking. When you're talking and doing all that, that takes a lot out of you. So be prepared to work hard, because those that work hard are the ones that are going to be successful. So the second point here, in talking about what you need to focus on to be successful from day one, is choose your area, your geography first before you get started. For me, looking back now, 10 years ago, I really didn't think that through. So for example, when I'm a real estate agent now in Louisville, Colorado. I work for RE/MAX Alliance. Louisville is a small city of about 20,000 people. It's about 10-15 minutes from Boulder, Colorado. Boulder has 100,000 people, bigger city. So maybe looking back, maybe I might have been better off to hang my license to work for a company based in Boulder, Colorado, and I could still be able to get the business from Louisville. The reason I say this is that wherever you decide you're going to become a real estate agent, you need to look at the territory that you're going to cover. You need to look at the average sales price. You need to look at the demographics, the people that are coming and going. Is this a place where people want to be? And how is the market? Is it a market that is going up in terms of appreciation, or is it an area of declining value? And that's a term that you don't want to hear, and you hear that from appraisers, area of declining value. So I know a real estate agent, and he's actually profiled in my book, Jeff Rising, and he works in Michigan. So his average sale price is anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 for a house, and that's just his market in Michigan. He does really well, he's very successful, but the amount of volume that he has to do is a lot higher than somebody like, say, myself. This year, as I mentioned, I'm having a good year. My average sales price so far this year is like $450,000. So that's a lot different than having an average sales price of $80,000. So you have to look at the math, and there's no standard commission rate for real estate agents. So I don't want you to think that there is, and you should know that up front. There's no standard commission rate. So if you're talking to your potential managing broker, other real estate agents in the area, you can kind of get a flavor for what the commission rates are in the area that you're going to work in, and then you can extrapolate that back based on the average sales price. Ideally, my goal is to be able to do $100,000, $150,000 a year at a minimum in commissions. 20% of the realtors are generating 80% of the sales. I want you to be in that 80%. So whatever it's going to be in your area, you want to be able to focus in, can I be in that top 20%? So if the area that you live in is not doing very well, and you look back historically, then you might want to consider the best time to start in terms of making a move is when you first start out. Like, for example, I know somebody now in Oakland, California. I was there in California beginning past couple months ago. And Oakland is hot right now. My God. I mean, so many people are coming from San Francisco. They can't afford some of the houses. They don't want to pay a premium for $1 million, $1.5 million in San Francisco. They're going into Oakland now, and they're buying houses 600, 800,000. So this person I know, he's doing flipping. They've got a little business that they've developed, and the market is extremely hot. They put on a house recently, I think it was like 574. They put it on the weekend, and after like 3 days, they started accepting offers. It sold for like over $800,000. So, I mean, Oakland is a hot area. Now, I'm not saying go move to Oakland, but what I'm saying is take this into consideration. Here it is, it's 2012. When you look back in the early 2000s, Florida was extremely hot, right? You couldn't buy a condo in South Florida. I mean, everything was just moving, moving, moving. And now, the past 5 years, Florida has really been hard hit. But if you are going to commit to an area, you want to stick with it. But if you can make a little change up front, like for me, I wish I had started in Boulder. Because if I had started in Boulder and I'd stayed in Boulder all the time the last 10 years, then I would get more deals, 800,000, 1.5. Being in Louisville, I don't have as much Boulder business. I'm doing more East Boulder County. I've done well, but it's just a different type of business, and I could do both. So if I had maybe been able to do some deals 800 to $1 million, I could have been able to make more money over time. So really research that. The company that you're talking to can provide that to you. You can look online. The internet's great. All this information is out there. The next thing, this is one of the questions I get all the time from new real estate agents. People read my book, watch my YouTube videos, is how do I choose the right company to work for? I talk about it in my book, but I want to kind of expound on it here because I think it is so important when you're starting out as a new real estate agent, which company you choose to work for. A couple things here. Number one, when you're new, the company that you decide to work for is the company that's going to reflect on you. So an example here, when I was graduating from college years ago, I wanted to get a part-time sales job. My family, we had a restaurant. I wanted to kind of do something a little different. So I was going out interviewing for these different jobs. And I interviewed with this one job in Golden. We went in there as a group interview. There was like 10 of us. So we sit down at this table. They had us fill out this questionnaire. They asked us a few questions. The whole thing took about 30 minutes. And then at the end of the 30 minutes, they went to all of us and said, okay, you're all hired. You start tomorrow. You're all hired. You can be able to work come tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I'm like, what is this? So the next day I went in, 9 o'clock, more out of curiosity than anything. So I go in there. They still haven't told us what who the company is. They haven't told us what the product is. They just said you're hired, and it was a lot of this rah-rah, if you believe it, you can do it, you can make $1 million, all this kind of stuff. So we go in there, and they have this presentation for 2 hours, and they're talking. In this whole 2 hours, they still haven't said what the product is. And then after like 11 o'clock, they roll in this vacuum cleaner, Kirby vacuum cleaner. So we're all going to be selling Kirby vacuums, which is fine. I have nothing against Kirby vacuums, but I didn't want to be a door-to-door salesman, and I didn't want to be kind of associated as working for a company that sells that. So my point here is that who you choose to work for up front is going to be a big reflection of you. So for me, I started a RE/MAX Alliance. RE/MAX Alliance has an office in Louisville. It was a great fit for me, locally strong, nationally strong. So think about that for the type of companies that you're talking to. When you're talking to potential companies, here is kind of a laundry list that I want you to kind of think of. Number one is what type of training and mentoring are they going to offer you? Like I said before, the first year, the second year is critical to your long-term success as a real estate agent. So the training and mentoring that you get up front from the company that you're going to work for is invaluable. And it wasn't as critical for me because I came out of high tech, I had a lot of sales background, but what I wish I had more training and mentoring on the marketing side, because I didn't really understand what was needed to be successful as a real estate agent from a marketing perspective. Because there's really two functions to our job as a real estate agent. One, we're helping our clients, we're helping our buyers, helping our sellers, the sales side of it. The second side of it is the marketing side, because we have to keep refilling the pipeline and we have to be marketing ourselves. So you want to be able to make sure that the company that you work for is going to give you training and mentoring on the sales side, the customer side, the real estate side, but also in the marketing side, because the marketing is very important as you get into it. Second point here that's really important is the managing broker. So the company that you're going to work for, the office, you want to make sure that you have a hands-on managing broker that's going to be there all the time to answer your questions. So when you're talking about to your managing broker, you want to ask them what their work schedule is like. Are they there every day? Are they available via email, via phone? Because as you get into the deals that you're working, helping your customers, something's always going to come up. And for me, I've been doing this a long time. Every now and then I've got situations that come up and I need help. And maybe it's not just help, but maybe it's just to kind of talk and strategize. So having a managing broker that's going to be there, be available, is really, really critical. I'm lucky. I have a managing broker. He's very helpful. He's always available. Then if he's out of town, he'll designate somebody to be there to help all the other agents in the office. So that's really important. The other thing that you want to, when you're evaluating companies to work for, is do they have a good reputation locally? Because you're going to know the area that you live in. You're going to know a lot about the real estate companies, even if you're new. Just go talk to people. You go to the gym, you're talking to people, you have kids, you talk to the parents, and just ask them, what do you think of this company? And people are going to share with you very honestly what they think about that company. So choose a company that has a good reputation. The other one is their brand name recognizable. Do they have a good brand name out there? For me, RE/MAX, I mean, that's one of the best brands in the world. I mean, everybody knows the RE/MAX balloon, the RE/MAX logo. So after doing this, 10 years, I send my postcards, I have my website. So when people see RE/MAX, they associate, hey, Mario, he works for RE/MAX, all my past clients. Locally and nationally, a good brand name recognition. When you're looking at that office, how are the other agents in that office? Are they good agents? Are they doing business? Are they professional? You want to work in an office that has other good agents because you kind of get that synergy there from your office, office meetings, things that you're doing. But you want to work with other good agents because you want to be able to learn from them. And then you also want to be able to trade business back and forth. If you go out of town, you want to have somebody in your office that you can trust to be able to take care of your clients when you're, in Mexico or you're vacationing wherever. Don't view the agents in your office as competition. That was the thing that I was really kind of hung up on initially when I started. I kind of looked at everybody in the office, oh, I'm competing with this person and competing with that person. We all have our own business. A lot of our business is going to come from the sphere, the people that we know, past clients, people that we've worked with, family, friends. So when you're starting out, you don't have past clients. You're going to be able to focus on the sphere, the people that you know, the open houses, the floor time, those kind of activities. Does the company that you're talking to, do they have a good internet presence? Do they have a good website? Are they getting good leads? Because everything now is coming through the internet. So you want to make sure that the company that you're working for has a good website, because maybe those that are starting, you might not have the ability to do a really fancy website, so you want to be able to do a boilerplate website within your company. And then the leads that you're going to get from your office, that would be ideal if you can get some business through the company that you're going to work for, be it floor time, be it hosting open houses from other agents. You want to be able to get some business through your company. That would be really helpful. The office staff, is the office staff helpful? Do they know what they're doing? What level of service are they going to provide to the agents? Because you're new, you want to be able to make sure that the office staff can help you when you get new listings, when you get a new buyer, all the paperwork, all the processing. It's a very paperwork intensive job, so you want to be able to have support from the office staff. So I've been talking a little bit here about all the different aspects of trying to choose the right company to work for. And as you noticed, I haven't said anything yet about compensation or splits. The reason I haven't done that, I don't feel it's as critical when you're first starting out as a real estate agent. You need to be able to focus on this as a long-term career. Think of this as an apprenticeship. You want to get training, you want to get mentoring, you want to be able to learn the business in the first year to 2 years and then build that foundation going forward. So if all you're focused on is making sure that you get the right split and you work for a company where you get a great split, but it doesn't have all the other characteristics that you need, good reputation, good brand name, and be able to get the training and the mentoring, be able to get some business. Yeah, maybe you might be all out there all alone on an island and you're getting 80% split, let's say, but 80% of nothing is nothing. And I'm not saying that you're going to get nothing, but what I'm trying to help you focus on is it's not as important to really focus on the splits and the compensation up front. You want to be able to make sure that the company you work for is going to help you get your career started. You get that training, get that mentoring. They have a nice office space, they have good conference rooms, so when you bring your clients in, you don't feel embarrassed about where you're meeting. You don't want to have to be meeting people all the time at a coffee shop. You want to be able to bring them back to your office. So really don't get so hung up on the money initially. Like I mentioned, when I started out, I wish I had focused more on a little bit more training and helping on the marketing side. So that is something that's really, really important nowadays. And this is something I think with my program here, I could be able to help you with. One of the other questions I get, the next point, number 4 here, is I get asked a lot, should I join a team? Should I be a licensed assistant? Or should I start out on my own from the very first day? Now, these are really good questions, and it's really hard to give a blanket response because it's going to be based on your situation. Real estate agents, we got people that are coming into the business, 18, 19 years old, all the way up to people that are, senior citizens, 60, 70 years old. Some people get into the business. So there's no right or wrong answer there. It's all going to be based on your experience, your work experience, your life experience, what you're going to bring to the table as a new real estate agent. So if you're somebody who has 0 sales experience, and let's say you've been a teacher and you don't have that sales experience, then I think you could consider maybe being a licensed assistant, working for a strong realtor, a strong real estate team, maybe do that for a year, learn the business. It's like an apprenticeship, like being an electrician, being a plumber, whatever you want to look at it. You want to be able to learn as you go, build going forward. So you can be a licensed assistant. You could be working for a team. Maybe you're just a buyer's agent and you work for a strong team and they're doing a lot of business, and then they will be able to provide the leads to you. They have a split based on that, which is totally fine. So being a part of a team, you learn how they do things, you watch how they do their marketing, you watch how they do their open houses. There's a lot of value to be gained to be working in a team when you first start out. I know when I started out, maybe I could have been a part of a team for a year or two, really kind of cut my teeth that way. That would have been great. But I chose to go as an individual, which it still worked out. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So just kind of talking it through with you, because these are questions that you're going to have. And even as you get into your first year, you might say to yourself, wow, maybe I should have joined a team rather than start out myself. And if you want to start out by yourself from day one, you can do that. Just be able to make sure that you've got the support from your managing broker, from your company, and you feel that you're going to be able to be successful as you progress in your career. One of the other questions I get all the time, number 5 here, is, should I work full-time or should I work part-time? Now, this is a hotly debated subject with a lot of people that are in the business, and a lot of the experienced people. Oh, you can't work part-time, and you can't be successful, you can't do that. You really got to commit to this. If you don't put your heart and soul into it, you're not going to be successful. But I say that's not true. I mean, you can work part-time. It just depends on what you're doing the other half of the time. I mean, if you're working 2 jobs, you could still be successful as a real estate agent. For me, my wife, she is a software engineer. She has the 9 to 5 job. She gets to the office, 8 o'clock. She gets home 6 o'clock. We have 2 young daughters. So all the time I've been a real estate agent, I've been the taxi guy, right? I've taken my daughters to daycare. I've taken my daughters to Montessori. I've taken my daughters, to elementary school, all their activities, karate, dance, swimming. All of you as parents, you can relate to that. At some stage of our lives as parents, we're basically a taxi driver. So being a real estate agent, I have the flexible job. So I'm doing all of this during the week, and I'm taking care of the kids, but I'm still a real estate agent. And as a realtor, we have irregular hours. So I can do a lot of my face-to-face, taking the tours, doing the listings. I can do that at night. I can do that late afternoon. I can do it on the weekends. So basically, I look at it like I have 2 jobs. I'm a dad, doing all my dad duties, and then I'm a real estate agent. And I'm still very successful as a real estate agent, even though I have these other responsibilities. So that could work for somebody, let's say, who is not married and they don't have children, but maybe you have another job that you're doing 6, 8 hours a day initially, and you can kind of transition into being a real estate agent. I know some of the teams out there that have buyer's agents. Some of these buyer's agents, they don't work full time. They just work maybe 2 days a week and maybe on weekends, and then they, at that defined time, then they will work with their clients, take them out, do the contracts, whatever they need. But they're working part-time, right? So there's really no right or wrong way when you're talking about, should I work full-time, should I work part-time? I know somebody locally, I've known this lady for a long time. She's been in sales, and she's a top-notch salesperson. And she approached me a couple months ago, and she said, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the business, being a real estate agent. And I said, that's great. I said, you would be awesome, because she's a real go-getter. She works hard. She's very personable, and she knows the area. She's lived in the area for a long time. And we talked about the different strategies that she could use to be able to get into the business, because maybe she could still work her current job for a period of time and work part-time as a real estate agent. So take that to heart when people say to you, oh, you have to work full-time, you can't work part-time. There's no right or wrong answer to that. Number 6, and this is one of the biggest things I want you to think about when you're starting as a real estate agent. What is your niche going to be? What is your specialty going to be? I talk about this at length in my book, talk about it in the videos that I've done. But the real estate agents today, it's becoming more specialized. I mean, you think about doctors, you think about lawyers. There's no general doctor anymore. Doctors, they're all focused on a specialty, an area of medicine. Lawyers, you got all kinds of lawyers, right? From divorce lawyers, you got patent lawyers. I mean, just lawyers everywhere, right? All different kinds. And the same thing is happening with real estate agents. So for you, new, starting out in the business, I want you to think about what is your focus going to be. You can have a market segment. You could focus on a geography. So like talking about my example, when I started, I was in corporate housing. I was doing a lot of corporate housing when I transitioned from my high-tech sales getting into the world of real estate. So a couple years I was doing corporate housing. And as a result of doing corporate housing, I learned a lot about the relocation business. And relocation is really big here in the Boulder area. Boulder is beautiful, right? I mean, Boulder, Louisville. Louisville was ranked #1 city, best place to live in by Money Magazine. Boulder is in all the magazines as well. A great place to be, a great climate. I love living here. So a lot of other people feel the same way. I helped somebody a couple weeks ago. They're coming from Italy, and they're lived in the US. Now they want to come back. So I had that experience being in corporate housing, so I could leverage that experience getting into real estate. So what is your experience? What is your area of specialty? What is your passion? I like corporate housing. I liked helping people move here because I love the area. I mean, I can be an ambassador to Colorado, and I really enjoy that part of what I do. It's not just focused on the housing and the contracts and everything. So where is your passion? And there's a lot of things. I know there's a new realtor that I've met, and he lives up in the Boston, Massachusetts area, and he's really into all the green stuff, right? The environmental friendly housing, eco, and that's big now. So maybe that could be your area of specialty. So there's a lot of different choices. I talk about it in my book. I give a big list of all the different choices, but they're all out there. The reason I say that you want to focus in on a market segment is you can be a general realtor. You're always going to be a general realtor, but as you're going to market yourself to the public through social media, through the YouTube videos, through your blog, through your website, you want to be able to do the content marketing. Content marketing is important now. You put the good content out there, the good information, and you can have it revolve around this area of focus. And that's what I'm doing. I do my YouTube videos, I do it on relocation tips, moving to the area. So that way people can watch the information, develop a relationship with me, and they say, hey, you know, that guy, he knows what he's talking about. He knows the area. I'm moving here from California, from New Jersey, whatever. And then they see that I have the knowledge and expertise that they're looking for. So really focus on the geography you're going to choose, the market segment you're going to choose. And that's really important from day one. The next point I want to talk about is how are you going to get your clients? It's a client acquisition business. Nothing is going to happen until you close deals. When you close a deal, that's when you're going to get a commission check. So when you're first starting out, before you hit the ground running, you want to be able to research how you're going to get clients. And you could talk about this with your managing broker, talk about how effective floor time is, and what floor time is for those that don't know what that is. I've said it a couple times. What that is that the company that you work for, they will have what's called floor time, where they will always have an agent on staff on the floor that could be able to answer questions via the phone, or if somebody were to walk in. So like in my office, we get people to walk in, say, oh, I'm thinking of moving to Louisville, can I talk to a realtor? And whoever is on floor time will come and help that customer. So you want to find out from your company how effective is floor time. The other way you can get new clients initially when you start out is hosting open houses. And again, when the company that you work for, this is what I talked about before, if you're in a good company where you've got other agents that are doing business and are doing well, you could be able to talk to them, hey, can I host an open house of one of your new listings, maybe an area that you're going to focus on, and we will help each other. And as real estate agents, if I had somebody came to me and said, you know, I want to be able to host an open house for your new listing, I'd say, sure. Right now, I don't host a lot of open houses. It just doesn't fit into my schedule. And it's just not something that I need to do. But if I had somebody who was in my office and wanted to do it, sure, I say go ahead. And that's a good way for you to be able to generate business. Why do most real estate agents fail initially? Because they don't get business. A lot of new real estate agents, they get caught up in all the extraneous type of activities. You know, how I need to stage a house and how I need to go to all these different classes and everything. What's going to define your success in the first year to 2 years is getting customers. I want to keep stressing this to you. A lot of people that write books and do training, they might say otherwise, but to me, getting clients, getting business, that is what's going to be able to keep you going in your career. So you want to research that up front. So when you research that up front, then you're not going to have any surprises 60 days in. You're like, oh, you know, I don't have any business and I don't have any clients. And you know, that might happen, but you want to be able to get clients and business up front because that's how you're going to be successful. Do a financial model. Just do a spreadsheet and look at what you need to be able to close over the first year and what you want to close in the second year. And then the other thing is you want to know all your costs up front. You know, to be a real estate agent, you got realtor fees, you join the local MLS, you got MLS fees, E&O, errors and omissions insurance. You need to be able to pay that up front. And then all your other business fees, you have, you know, business cards for sale signs. Depending on the company that you work for, you might have to pay for it or they might pay for it as a part of the program that you're going to be with them. Number 8 here is do all of the pre-sales planning before you start working. If you can do a lot of this before you start working, then that way from day one, you're out there, you're working, trying to get clients, you're trying to help the customers that you've already established relationships with, and you're not wasting the first 90 days. Oh, I'm doing a business plan, and oh, you know, I got to do this, I got to go to this class and that class. No, you want to be getting clients, you want to be getting business, you want to be helping your customers. So do all of this as best you can before you start. The other thing that could be helpful, get a good picture of yourself before you start, like a headshot. And you know, I'm not talking like a glamour, you know, those glamour shots. Company I worked for years ago, we had a lady who had a big glamour shot up on her cube, and we all laughed about it. Just a standard head and shoulders. You know, you want to be current. You know, it doesn't have to be that elaborate. Get somebody, take a good picture, but you want to be able to use that picture when you start in all your social media, your websites, etc. Number 9 here, talking about what I want you to think about before you start is, why do you want to be a realtor? This is really important because a lot of you that start out, one of my feelings is a lot of you shouldn't be a real estate agent because you just don't have the right motivation. You're not really geared towards being a real estate agent. You're just kind of trying it out. It's like Yoda said, right? Don't try, do. So for those of you that are starting out, I really want you to ask yourself, why do you want to be a real estate agent? What is your motivation? And you want to then backtrack from that. And when I started out in sales 25 years ago, 27 years ago, the book that was kind of my foundation was The 1-Minute Salesperson by Larry Wilson and Spencer Johnson. It was kind of an add-on to the 1-Minute Manager. And the 1-Minute Salesperson talks about how your selling philosophy is to help other people get what they want and need, and when you help them, you will get what you want and need. So that has always been my belief as a real estate agent, and it's great because this is a meaningful job helping our customers buy or sell their house, and it's really a huge part of their lives. So when I'm helping them get what they want and need, then I will get what I want and need, and that's where the motivation comes in. So if your motivation is, you know, I just want to get a paycheck, I just want to make, you know, $250,000, I just want to be able to, you know, keep rolling in the commissions, it looks really easy, that is not going to be a good philosophy long term because there's a lot of ups and downs that we go through in our business, and to be able to stick with it long term, you really have to believe in what you're doing. And like I said, I love being in sales. I love being a realtor because I get to help my clients. We are, defining our customers' lives by where they live, and it's very meaningful. So ask yourself, why do I want to be a realtor? Why do I want to be able to do this? And then write it down, and then keep that with you as you're moving along in your career. The last point I want to talk about is don't give up. Don't give up. For those of you that have everything that I've talked about thus far, you have the right motivation, you're working hard, you're working for the right company, you're doing all the homework, you're really, really working hard, don't give up. There's been many times in my career where I could have said, this isn't working out. I'm not making the money that I wanted to. It's so hard. I've had all these customers and these deals fall apart. And I could have easily walked away many times. And that's going to happen to you, where you're going to have a situation where you're going to say, I just can't do it anymore. But what I'm asking you to do is don't give up. Again, talking about me this year, my 10th year, I'm having one of my best years. I've got 2 closings this week. I was doing an offer last night. I've got a closing, 2 closings next month. I mean, this is a really good year. I mean, it's up and down. But if I had quit last year was not as good as a year as this year, and then I wouldn't be able to realize what I'm doing now. I would have gone into some other job and, whatever. But don't ever give up, because it's a really meaningful job and you're going to feel good about it. I know you're going to do well, so just stick with it. So I really appreciate you, watching this video. This is the first in my series, and so thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.